Okay, what is up, YouTube people, stream watchers, people who have just logged on? Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Scott Ackerman, and this is a live stream in which I'm going to attempt to take anybody's problems that they're currently having in life and help walk them through them. This is completely experimental. Maybe nobody will even sign on that needs help, and maybe this won't work at all, and that's fine. That's okay. You don't know if things are gonna work until you try them. So this is a first time for me. It's probably a first time for a lot of you. If you're wondering why I've started such a stream, it's because, quite honestly, I like to hear what people are dealing with in life and see if I have dealt with the same problems. If I have, then I tell them about how I worked through the problem, whether it was a failure or a success. I think you can learn from both. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but that is my own life theory, quote unquote. Let me just bring up chat real quick. Today, I've been smart enough to not just keep a computer going with the stream so I can monitor the status. I've been smart enough to lower my bit rate because I am a huge dummy. I realized I had my bit rate at 2,500, which is, if anybody knows anything about streaming, is insanely stupid. I lowered it down to 800 because I'm almost always at, like 640 by 800 for my video feed as far as my camera. So we should all stream have a wonderful resolution streaming bitrate, not choppy camera service. From what I can see right now, it's been green the entire time as far as the health of the stream, so that's already a good sign, and that's most likely because I dropped the bitrate from 2,500 to 800 because I am so stupid. Right now I'm trying to, I'm on my own channel trying to see my own live stream, and it is not showing up. Nonetheless, it does say I am streaming. There we go. Now it finally just showed up. Bit of a delay there. 20 watching right now. Okay, let me just jump in there. I want to say hi to everybody because that's just something I do. You're gonna hear a feedback from my own stream for just a second. Sorry about that. And I want to give a shout out to another YouTuber here in Japan that I've been watching a lot recently, and he's doing a live stream right now too, so if you prefer his stuff over mine, that's totally okay. I want to give him all the viewership he can get. His name is Endigo, and if I believe I'm correct about this, he is from Sweden, and he is part of a visual K band in Japan. So I mean that's a pretty interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Okay, I got chat open. Let me say hello to everybody. Jenny, so much for thank you for coming back again. Yugi, what's up? Oh, this is your first stream, Yugi? Well, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. It's this a thing that you are going later on Patreon counseling? No, dude, not going to. I'm not taking any. I mean, if you want to donate, you can. That's fine. But I'm just doing this I honestly just like to talk to people about their problems and work through them if I can. There's no me begging for money or something. If you want to donate, great, awesome. My Patreon is patreon.com/Scott Ackerman. But I mean, don't feel like you need to donate to the stream or anything. Donations are on, but you don't need to donate. Cynthia, what's up? Hobitat, what's up? Dexmex, how's it going? Stella, how you doing? Hansika, or is it Hanshika? I'm not sure. Ida's back. Good job. Banana Hammer's here. He is our mod for the board, so if you piss him off, he's going to use his banana hammer on you. Riding with Ren. and Nicholas. How's it going, guys? And what is it? Flinty Tie 52248 Pro. Yo, what's up? How's it going, dude? How is everybody today? I just want to start out with that first. How's everybody doing? I hope you all doing okay. It's probably nighttime where most of you are. Here in Osaka, Japan, it is 10:21 a.m. I'm just enjoying a little bit of Stardew Valley. If you don't know what this game is, it's pretty much like all the farming sims on the old DS. Is that like the best? I don't know, what would you say, the best connection I can make? I hope you guys don't mind if I just play a little bit of this while I'm talking to all of you. It's a really low-key game. Like, it's really chill. So it's a game where, like, I don't have to play really intense, so I can focus more on your questions and not on the game. You know, there's no FPS going on here. Load. I think I have the music turned off, so you won't be bothered by music from the game. Yes, it is the Ackerman Farm. You can really make your player look like you, too, I think. There we go. Got just a little bit of money. I've just started this farm. Okay, it's 6:22 in Cali. Cool. Daijoubu. Okay, what's up, Nars Place? What's up, 18 Blue Note? Jorge. I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and say your last name. I'll probably mess it up really bad. Dark Omega 777. What's up? Wow, we got a pretty good chat today. Holy smokes. It's blowing up pretty big. Sadly, you have to go. Sorry, Flinty. See ya. Time for you to go too, Deadly Scythe. All right, see ya. What's good from Seattle? How's it going, Ryan? Hey, Jessica. Hey, Andy. Wow, what's going on, man? We got a lot of people logging on today. Holy smokes. That's cool, dude. Scott, are you excited for the Friday the 13th game? I don't know, Nicholas. Have you seen the reviews on it? It's been pretty bad. Now, I'm excited. I think that's a cool game. I don't know if I really like the fact that Jason can teleport in that game. I think that's kind of strange. And apparently now that's going to be canon, which, okay. That's kind of strange, though. He can teleport. Would love your insight. How do you get your sons to listen and behave in general, and especially in public? I have two sons who are 6 and 4. What? You know what? My sons are actually 4 and 6 as well. And as much as I love them, they drive me crazy sometimes. Well, Jenny, this is actually something I have a bit of expertise on, being a kindergarten teacher for how many years now, and a father, of course, of 2. This is a bit of a difficult situation because one thing I teach every teacher who I train and manage is to be a disciplinary person, to have a strict regimen of discipline. You can start out extremely strict, and I mean you need to rule with an iron fist. And then once you notice who's good in your class and who's bad in your class, you can slowly start to loosen your grip and be a softer, kinder teacher. But you cannot do the opposite. So if you already started out very, I'm not saying this is you, but I'm saying if you started out very lax, very calm, let them do what they want, and I'm saying this for my teachers, then later when you try to be a strict disciplinarian, they'll laugh it off. They won't take it serious, and they'll push the envelope. But if you go vice versa, they know that wrath exists. They know that fear of punishment exists, and they will take you very serious. Banana Hammer, thank you so much, $2. Sorry, I'm quiet. Closing the store. Love y'all. It's okay. Take your time, buddy. Take your time. And if you have questions later, just save them up. I'll answer them. So my advice to you is keep the fear of punishment, and that punishment is completely up to you. You know, I'm personally not one who teaches corporal punishment, and if you don't know what corporal punishment, no, that's not the death sentence. That means like spanking your child. That's not, you know, obviously, and that's not something I can teach in the classroom because you cannot hit a student, of course. But what I will say is, what is going? Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with the game. What I will say is, the punishment needs to be something that takes away things that either they enjoy regularly or will make them thoroughly upset, even if it makes them upset to the point of anger. In fact, if you do get an emotional response, that means you've done quite well with what you've chosen. It may bring them to tears, and that may break your heart. So, for example, I will, my son loves like snacks or dessert or to watch Doraemon, and those are the things that I can take away that will move him to tears. And I know how it feels. Like, your heart is broken, no matter how bad your kid has been. When you see that kid's big old mouth open up and big tears well up, like, your heart's breaking a little bit. But that's where you need to be resolute. You cannot back even an inch down, because the second you do, the kid will continue to push the envelope until they get their way completely. So you need to make your ground rules extremely strict that take away things that are extreme amounts of enjoyment. Even if those are things like, a dessert at the end of a meal, a favorite TV show. And you have to be unrelentingly strict on that stuff. Now, later, if your kids start to behave better, you can start to back down a little bit. But my advice is to start out incredibly strict and only soften up when your kids finally realize that the threat of punishment exists. One very... Now, you should probably give yourself more credit than you are right now. If you're always around with your kids and taking care of them, that's honestly the best thing that you can do. People always ask me, they're like, am I being a good mom or am I being a good dad? And my question to them is, are you there? Like, as in, are you physically with your kids a lot? Well, then you're a good parent. That's all kids need. There's been scientific studies that have proven, and I'm sounding like Donald Trump right now just saying, I've heard these researchers, and these are good researchers, and let me tell you. But I don't have any quotable sources right now. The way your child will develop is almost set on a definite course with little to no influence as far as, what skills you teach them, how much they learn in school, and even some of the disciplinary codes that you put upon them. Nonetheless, the most important aspect of their child rearing years, I cannot talk, holy smokes, is the fact that you are there. And I mean that in the way that you are physically there, emotionally there, and psychologically there. If you are there and that kid knows that there is somebody to turn to when they are in any sort of mood, whether that be good, bad, angry, or sad, that is the most vital part of their development. When people ask me if they are a good parent, I say, are you there? If they say, yeah, I'm always there. I'm always, with my kids. It's just that they act bad, or it's just that they get angry about this, or they won't study this. I'm like, then you're being a good parent. You would be surprised to learn how many people deal with problems in their life later just merely due to the fact that their parents were not there enough. And, that's not putting down anybody whose parents weren't there. In fact, if you have become a successful person, or you have really made a great life for yourself, even when you didn't have that family support, you are you are stronger than even those of us who did have very caring parents. You have really succeeded, and I think you should pat your own self on the back for that. I hope I've answered that somewhat. Okay, let me just catch up with chat here. Wow, we had a bunch more sign on. Chat is going crazy today. Holy smokes. I'm not really normally used to this. Charles, what's up? How you doing? Good morning from Kobe. Whoa, that's cool. I got another Japan person here. That's awesome, dude. I'm glad you're tuned in, man. Actually, I don't know if I can give this away, but I'm going to just tell you, Deadly Scythe, he's my friend too. He lives here in Osaka with me. That's a big area, so I'm not really giving away his location. Moe, how's it going? Moe Lester. That is quite a name there. Nothing wrong with giving a kid a good old beating every once in a while. I'm just saying, well, for me, I'm saying you can't do it in the classroom. You can actually, I mean, you can get sued in Japan. So I think you can probably get sued in most countries. Personally, I myself do believe in corporal punishment at home. I know some people might think I'm really harsh for thinking that, but you don't have to hit your kids all the time. Corporal punishment can be the zenith of the punishment. And that's my own belief. If they know the fear of that getting spanked exists, they will not push it to that level. You don't need to constantly be spanking your kids. They just need to know that threat exists. How did you meet your wife? TTP asks that. I actually met my wife while she was shopping for English books in a Tsutaya bookstore in the Shinsaibashi area. So she was, there's this giant bookstore in Shinsaibashi, which is kind of like a downtown area of Osaka. And there's a massive bookstore, which is a chain of bookstores really called Tsutaya. And they also rent DVDs, and they rent CDs too, which is really weird because everybody I know rips CDs from there. And she was on the lowest level, the basement level, and down there is where the English section is. And she was checking out Kurt Vonnegut books. And because I am an English speaker and it's very hard to find English books in Japan, I was also down in that section looking for books. And she's very tiny. My wife is actually only 4'11", so she's ultra tiny. And she was trying to reach a book. I believe the book was Slaughterhouse-5 or Welcome to the Monkey House. I can't remember exactly. And she could not reach it because she is just too tiny, too tiny. And I helped her get the book. I saw what the book was, and I was like, oh, hey, Kurt Vonnegut. I've actually read quite a bit of Kurt Vonnegut. Harrison Bergeron's one of my favorite American literature stories. So we actually started a conversation with that, and I was surprised by her intellectual level of Kurt Vonnegut. Not that I'm surprised a woman could read Kurt Vonnegut or a woman in Japan could. It's just that she knew Kurt Vonnegut in Japan. It's not a popular author in Japan. So please don't take that the wrong way. And so we had a conversation about him, and I invited her to dinner. I said, well, what are you doing right now? Like, do you want to just go get a bite to eat? And I took her to an izakaya next to Tsutaya that I knew was really good. It had like the best food ever. And we had a good conversation, and I asked if I could see her again later. And I think the next thing we went to go see was a movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still remake with Keanu Reeves, like just the worst movie ever. And we shared laughing about it, just how stupid and bad it was, and how Keanu Reeves is the same role in every movie he's ever in, except for John Wick, which he does quite good with, but every other movie then he's like, whoa, dude, whoa. Wild stallions. But we just laughed about it, and I felt like, wow, I share not only like a reading, a like in reading and literature, but I also share a like in like making fun of movies and stuff like that. So I mean, I dated quite a bit before I met my wife. I'll be 100% honest. Like I had no problem meeting or dating women before I met my wife, but by that time I had known you need to find somebody you mentally connect with. How they look is important, of course. I think both people should worry about finding someone they like the way they look, because that is another aspect of finding your partner, but it is not the only aspect. One best piece of advice I ever got from a friend when finding a significant other is look for a point of one in every single aspect of a person that you're looking for. Because if any of those are zero times all the other numbers still comes out to zero. So I was like, yeah, that's a good point. So she checked all the boxes. We shared a lot, and it's been a happy, gosh, almost 10 years now. Going on 10 years, so I think I did all right. I think we drive each other insane, just like any other married couple does. We drive each other nuts sometimes, but we have a lot of really good times too, and we share a lot of great family times too with our two wild kids. So I think I did all right. let me move on from there. Okay, actually chat's gone down quite a bit since I've talked. I apologize if I've left anybody's questions. I could use some help, but I don't think anyone's advice will really help me out. Well, Casey, I can try. Don't be I mean, as long as you're okay to share it with us here, don't hold back. Let's see. I'm just sorry. I just gotta check. Okay, so let me just say hi to all the new people who signed it on. Lust, what's up? How's it going? Who else did I miss? Dark Vein 66. You suck. I know. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I always wonder about that, like people who randomly sign on and just like throw some hate. Like it doesn't really have any impact because I don't know who you are. Like, we were longtime friends, and like you came on and were suddenly like, you suck. I'm like, yo, dude, what did I do? Like, oh man, I really do suck if I pissed off a long-term friend. But like, there's so many nobodies and randoms on the internet that if you really take to heart like all the harsh words that people have for you on YouTube, I mean, you could fall apart. I would have ended doing this a long time ago. Who else we got? Ronald, how's it going? I use the 3 count method. My son knows if he hit 3s, he gets a spank. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's see. That's a really cute story about meeting your wife. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. All right. Sorry, I'm just catching up, guys. I hope you don't mind. I'm just trying to read down there. I have a life problem. Every time I eat French fries in my car, they always fall in the crack between my seats. My advice for that is, do you know like the wood caulk that you use to like caulk between woods and get all the gaps out? Just do that, or use the foam that hardens into like a very hard material, and just put that between every single crack in every part of your car until your car is just a seamless, very strange vehicle. All right. Has Scott ever had facial hair? For years, he's been clean shaven. I can't actually grow any facial hair for the most part. I mean, you've seen the max that I can grow. When you see my, what do you call it? My little dirt stash or whatever. I don't know. It was this a pathetic little mustache that I had. And that's as crazy as it gets for me. I can kind of grow a dirt stash and like the bum beard and the dirt stash, and that's about all I can grow. And I can't grow sideburns. I always kind of wanted to be able to grow sideburns. I think sideburns are cool, but I can't grow them at all. And that is an Ackerman family thing. Both sides of my family are very hairless. I don't know if you guys have ever seen my legs on camera. My legs are like swimmer hairless. Like people always think I shave my legs. They're like, how are your legs so silky smooth, Scott? I just don't grow hair, dude. Even my arms too. It's just like those little tiny light blonde hairs, and that's about it. All right, I totally wasted my time in this game. I let it become nighttime without chopping anything down or getting. Oh crap! Here comes a monster. All right. Yeah, go to sleep. All right. I'd be badass with mutton chops. Yeah, I think I could rock mutton chops, but alas, it shall never be. I probably have over 100 children out there in the world. Well, I guess congratulations 100 times over, Mo Lester. Don't worry, I can't grow any facial hair either. That's fine. You have lived in Japan a long time. Oh, dang, it's King Spook. Hey, King Spook, I found out the one time I unsubbed from your channel. That was actually the unsub glitch, because it did it more again and again, and I kept being like, yo, I know I'm not unsubbing to this guy. You have lived in Japan for a long time, as far as I know. But your spouse is not Japanese. No, my spouse is Japanese. Is there a case of meeting them before you moved, or is it hard for someone not Japanese to date? Oh, no. My wife is Japanese. Yeah, I met her in Japan. Are there negative things about dating in Japan? Yes, there are negative things about dating in Japan. I mean, just not more or less than there are negative things about dating in any country, really. But they are specific to Japan. So let me just talk for a brief moment about the biggest problem I see people run into and why people get divorced or break up in Japan. And that's because they don't know if they want a Western or an Eastern relationship. And let me tell you the difference, okay? The difference really tends to be the fact that in a Western relationship, both the man and the woman tend to have equal roles. I know some people might disagree with that, but comparably to the Eastern relationship, men and women in the West tend to have equal roles. They both usually work. They both usually earn an income, and they both usually take care of household chores, if you will. For example, it's not uncommon for a man in the West to be the cook of the house. My best friend Ian in high school, his dad was a chef, so of course he made all the dinners. It's not uncommon for a man in the West to do the laundry. That's not a big deal. Or to make their own lunch. And both people earn their own income and usually pay their own half of some sort of bills that come in. For example, utility bills or a mortgage or rent or whatever, you know. Hold on, I gotta get myself more comfortable here. There we go. All right. All right. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I gotta stay pretty close to this microphone. Now, where it differs in the East, what tends to happen, and this is just still more common, and no judgment on this, a woman tends to be a housewife in the East, okay? That is still the most common situation. It's common in China, it's common in Korea, it's common in Japan. I don't know about like Cambodia or Indonesia or something. I don't know much about those countries. But for the most part, the countries I just talked about, that situation is common. She tends to not earn any kind of livable wage, and this is usually something that the husband wants. They want somebody who stays at home, who is a child care person, a house chore person, a lunch maker, a dinner maker, pretty much just takes care of every kind of housework that you would have, hence a housewife. And then the man brings home the money, but he gives all the money to the housewife. And the housewife then is the person who takes care of all the bills, buys all the kids' clothes, updated uniforms, bags for school supplies, and even the husband's like work stuff too. Like if he needs a new shirt or a new suit, she makes sure that they have the budget for it and then takes care of it. But the biggest problem I see between gaijin, that's us, that's foreigners, coming over here, and this happens sometimes too with women, the vice versa situation. A man comes over here, he meets a Japanese wife, she's excited because she's met someone kind of exotic. He's excited because, let's be honest, like just Japanese women are beautiful. They're just all beautiful. And so that he's met like a beautiful girl, and they don't talk about what kind of marriage they want or what kind of relationship they want or what kind of, if you will, co-inhabiting situation. She has an Eastern situation in mind, and he's got a very Western one. And this creates a massive conflict. The man wants to share all the chores and wages with the woman as far as work too. The woman wants to stay at home and be a housewife. That tends to lead to a lot of fighting. And the saddest thing I've seen with this situation is they get as deep into the marriage as having a kid and everything, and then they realize that they have some very different views of how to be married and stuff. And why this is not talked about before you get this deep into a relationship, I do not know. I made it very clear to my wife that, I was looking, if I ever got married, and this was long before we ever talked about getting married, I say, I want a woman who continues to work in a Western style and, shares the bills with me. I, in turn, will share the house cleaning, the laundry. I don't really make dinner or lunch because I suck at cooking, but I love to clean. If you guys ever see my house in videos, it is usually impeccable. And that is because I am a psycho about cleaning. I will clean. Like I wake up and I go right to cleaning the house. My wife makes breakfast for the kids, and I go right to just cleaning every damn thing up and taking care of the laundry. So we have a very functional relationship, and we talked about it a lot before we got married. We share everything. I would say our marriage is more of a Western style marriage. If my wife did suddenly quit when we got married, that would not have been a good thing. I would not be happy pulling in all the money to share all the bills, because there's a lot of bills, man. Our lifestyle is a bit expensive, and it's not expensive because we're bad spenders. We're actually pretty frugal, but Japan is just an expensive country in general. Living is expensive, food is expensive, kids are outrageously expensive. Okay. Scott, I literally have all the life problems today. My former best friend betrayed me pretty brutally. So this is actually, something I've dealt with a lot in the past, like being betrayed by friends. I think it's something that we all have probably dealt with. And not just necessarily friends, maybe at work too, like a coworker. Can I ask a little bit more about the situation? What exactly happened? Because I can give you like some feedback on that as far as what's best to do in this situation. Because there's times where you need to forgive that person, and there's times where you need to cut that person loose and let them go like they're dead weight, pulling you down. I don't know if well, the thing is I've got a delay, so I got a little bit of a wait time. I'm going to just play the game a little bit while I wait. I hope you don't mind. I need to take breaks for my voice. So just enjoy the game a little bit, and let me catch up. It's actually quite confusing, but to make it short, okay, here we go. I'm glad they caught up. This game's so relaxing. Chopping down a tree in nature. Ooh, what is all that nasty stuff? Oops, I killed a sapling. Alright, I'm just giving them some time to write, guys. I hope you don't mind. I'll turn on the music and everything. I usually keep that off while I play. If the music's too distracting or it gets too annoying, just tell me. I'll stop it. Oh, where's the sound? Sound's not there now. Master volume. Jenny, thank you so much for your donation, $2 donation. Every little bit counts and rocks. You're awesome, Jenny. I need to get some sort of overlay that like shouts out and does some kind of little party dance every time people donate. What I'll do is I'll green screen myself boogieing down so that shows up every time. All right, let's see. Oh, and Jenny, do you want? I don't know if you want to. Some people want this, some people don't. If you want moderation, let me know. I'll put you on moderation. Okay, let me try and catch up here and see. Oh, what game is it? This is Stardew Valley. Let me just. Wow, a bunch of people said a bunch of stuff. All right, to make it short. Oh, okay. Hanshika, take your time and explain the problem too, okay? What I'll do is I'll take Dead Day Fly's problem first, and then I'll move on to yours next. But I'll try to hit everybody's problems up. All right, she had a sudden change of personality. Okay, so just to catch everybody up, what Dead Day Fly is writing me about is a friend recently betrayed them, and she's explaining the problem, or maybe it's he, I don't know. She had a sudden change of personality. Suddenly was really into Christianity, more so than before, and sounded very brainwashed. So, Dead Day Flight, can I ask this? Before they got, and this is not a hit piece on Christianity. This is not, dogging Christianity. There's nothing wrong with being a Christian. But did this person, because they've become so extreme with their beliefs with Christianity, I want to ask, did they have any kind of addiction in their life before Christianity kind of took it over? Was there any kind of addiction going on? Like, I don't want to say necessarily a drug addiction. It could be like any kind of addiction, really, like exercise or eating or, whatever. Let me turn off that music. It's kind of annoying now. And that's my question to you first, before I can answer this, because there's a little bit of a different answer if that's the situation. No, not that I know of. Okay. All right. I'm just checking because I have seen certain situations where people have used religion as a new form of addiction to cover an old addiction. And that can be any religion. That's not a dog on Christianity. Okay. So right now, your friend is not just into Christianity, whatever type it is. I know there's many branches, but they're fanatical to the point. Is it to the point that they're pushing it on you? Oh, body image. Okay. Let's see. Just a codependent relationship with her boyfriend, but insecurity issues, namely body image. Okay, she's got like what, dysphoria? Body morphic dysphoria. What is it called? Body morphic dysphoria or whatever. You constantly see yourself as not naturally beautiful, or even if you are beautiful, you see yourself as ugly in the mirror. So is this person trying to push Christianity on you now? Are they trying to push their religion on you now? Is it a problem with them being so fanatical that they push away any friends who do not hold the same belief, creed, or code? Because again, that's another different way to be dealing with a problem that can, like you said, it's betrayal. So if it's betrayal and the betrayal is connected to them suddenly pushing their beliefs on you, I can understand. No, like I said, it sounds like an excuse. I think the real issue all are insecurities. She seems always okay. Now we've gotten to the root of the problem. She always seems to badmouth everyone. Okay. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for a source. Okay, so this is her new pedestal. That's the problem. Oh crap, what is going on here? This is the pedestal that she's using. Now, this is the worst way to use any religion, as a form of judgment. And it sounds like your friend here has latched on to Christianity to justify bad-mouthing people. And in this sort of situation, it is a situation where you might need to cut them loose. The only way this person is ever going to see the error of their ways and realize that judging people, no matter what the reason is behind it, religion, competitively or comparatively, via their own personality or ethos compared to another, is incredibly insecure and fruitless. There's no way you yourself will improve by judging others. And also, usually there's no way to let this person know that what they're doing is very wrong. Like, why do you constantly talk trash? They'll be like, I'm not talking trash. I'm just saying that they're like this and this and this. And they're not going to hear you. Usually what's going to have to happen is they're going to have a lot of friends drop off or push away from them because they know they constantly deal with being judged by this person. It's not until they've lost enough friends that they'll finally be reflective enough or introspective enough to realize they themselves are the only one pushing everyone away. Probably for a while, what this friend's going to do is going to be like, oh, well, they don't see eye to eye with me on my morals, or they don't see eye to eye with me on my religion. I don't know what they'll use, but they'll use some sort of shield to shield themselves from the pain of losing friends that they themselves are pushing away. And it's going to take maybe, I don't know, it may take losing everybody, or it may take you losing a couple close friends until they realize I am the source of all my pain, and I need to really look into the person I've become, how I treat people, and how I talk about people. And until that time comes for that friend, I would say keep your distance, because it's a very toxic world to live in, where a person like that is constantly judging you and others around you, or asks you to join in with judging others around you. That can lead to some very dark paths in life. You'll eventually just end up, either colluding with that person and talking trash about others, and you yourself will end up friendless like that. Then you two are the only two people left that are friends. You have each other, and then eventually she turns on you too. That's what happens. anybody you know who's constantly talking trash about people will eventually end up talking trash about you behind your back, or maybe even to you. The same exact thing happened to me with a friend. I had a friend here in Japan. He eventually left Japan because he pretty much did exactly what I said. He burned his bridges with every single person, including myself. I hung on to him till the very last friend that he had. It was like me and one other guy. And, like I wouldn't agree with him on a lot of his trash talking. I'd just be like, I don't know if I believe that that's the truth about that person, or I don't know if I believe that I see the same way. And eventually one day he finally turned on me too. And he messaged me. Like, he was drunk at the time. He messaged me this really angry message about some artwork I was working on. He said that I was like copying his style or whatever it was. It was just something to lash out. Maybe I was. You can be influenced in any way by art. So, I mean, it's a very subjective thing to say. And I just sent some question marks back, like, are you serious right now? Like, you're lashing out at me even right now. And then he was like, yeah. And then I disconnected all contact with him. He had a business he was pushing on my website at the time, and I actually said I have nothing to do with this business anymore. I just want everybody to know so that I'm not associated with it. And he got even more furious, tried to do a takedown notice on my video that said that I'm no longer associated with this website or this service. Of course, I ignored it. You can't do that. I didn't badmouth the business or him. I just said I'm not connected to it anymore, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. That's not slander. And after that, he got deep into drugs in Japan. And I don't know how much you guys know about doing drugs in Japan. It's a bad idea because he got busted. He got found out by the police ASAP because the only way you can get drugs is either deal with like the shadiest people in Japan or get them mailed to you via Silk Road, and that's what he was doing. And he ended up getting deported for 10 years from Japan. So, sad but true. And I'm sure now he's probably reflecting on, what did I do to end up in this situation? Because obviously that had nothing to do with me. He ended up in a very bad situation. And sometimes you got to let people hit rock bottom before they take a good hard look at themselves and what they're doing to not just themselves but people around them. And it sounds like your friend's in that sort of situation. You need to back off. They're going to drag you down with you if you stay with them as far as friendship is concerned. You probably already knew all this though, right? Advice is the stuff that we already know is true, but we need to hear from a second-hand person, right? Okay, yeah, drugs in Japan is bad stuff. Japan in himself, how's it going? AJ Nides, how's it? Nidus, sorry, I probably messed up that last name. I'll just say AJ. Hey AJ, how's it going? Roy, how's it going? Enter the Void, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, Roy. If you guys don't know, Enter the Void is a movie about a guy trying to sell drugs in Japan. I really like that movie. That movie is trippy as hell, and it's a good movie, dude. I really like it. Probably a lot of people didn't like it, but I did. Mr. Boot, hey, what's up, dude? How's it going? Sorry if somebody. I remember yesterday you were saying somehow I had ignored you about something, or I apologize for that, man. Sometimes I miss a lot of questions, and I apologize for that. It's just usually me not being able to keep up. I found live streams with lesser views is more engaging than like Pew's live streams where the comments get, yeah, I know exactly. Kingdom Key, you're totally right. Where like the comments fly by so fast that there's just no way that Pewds could even interact with the people because it's just like a blazing stream. This is what I like too. Like I recently started streaming a lot more because I feel way closer to you guys when I do this. You guys are my only contact with like the English speaking world. You guys pretty much let me get my fill of speaking English, and I hope you don't mind. I'm going to take a big gulp of orange juice. But yeah, you guys pretty much, give me that contact to the outside world. I was watching this stream today. Well, it was like a recording of a live stream that Ice Poseidon did, and he broke down in the middle of the stream. He started crying, and he was like, it said crying and freaking out was what the label said, but he doesn't really freak out. He just cries pretty hard. And he said he really has trouble meeting people face to face or talking to people on the street or like at a job or, you know, going to a club or whatever you would do. And he said, you know, the main reason he streamed was to be able to just talk to people, to connect with people. And honestly, I'm finding that through my streams now too. It's a chance for me to really kind of just open up to you guys, talk to you guys more one-on-one, get a closer relationship with the viewers who stayed with me even with my channel change. And that feels not just like friendly and warm and kind, but it feels to me like contact with the outside world. Sometimes it can get very lonely in Japan. We don't get to speak our native tongue. And a lot of Japanese people in general, not that there's anything wrong with it, but they tend not to have a lot of the same views that I do. And those are views that I normally have to keep to myself. And they're not anything extreme. They're just kind of like, my view is always that your own sanity and your personal health should take priority over any job or outside choice in your life. And that's not something Japan always agrees with. A lot of times there's a lot of self-sacrifice for the greater good. It's a very common Eastern belief, and it's just something I can't gel with. But at the same time, I don't want to throw it in the face of every Japanese person I meet. I would not make any friends at all. I would be very confrontational, and that's not the kind of person I want to be nor hope to be. Let me move on. Let me check to see what other people are saying here, other questions that we're asking. Let me just check up here real quick. I want to go back to Rashkin. He had a question. I think it was about college or something. Give me just a second here, guys. Someone got warned in the chat. Wow. It's getting really big. If you're experiencing suicidal tendencies or thoughts, please reach a suicide hotline or seek professional help. Yeah, I would say, like, if you've come into the stream to talk about psychological problems that border on being suicidal, my first bit of advice would not be to talk to me, just some random on the internet, but to actually call a 1-800 hotline that is like suicide help. They are actually trained. I know I actually went through the training. They take you through quite a bit of training to be a suicide hotline person. So they're more trained. I myself cannot talk about those kind of things on a stream. Just mostly due to the fact that it would get into your own personal life live, and I don't think anybody wants that, like too personal. Tristan's the person who said that. Tristan actually isn't like a troll or anything like that. Tristan, oh, just kidding. I will never kill myself. I understand joking about it because it's the internet, but I mean, there are legit people here asking for psychological or life help. So if someone is in that situation, let's respect it. My friend is studying abroad to Japan in about 2 months, but now his nerves finally kicked in. Any suggestions from a friend's point of view to help him prepare for the distress? That's what Pat L writes. So are you saying, I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding this sentence. My friend is studying abroad to Japan. Does that mean they're in Japan now studying abroad, or they're using a teacher from Japan via Skype, or they're getting ready to study abroad? Sorry, you have to be a little bit more clear with that. Okay. Hanshika, let's see. What did you ask about? A girl I was interested in since a month ago got into a relationship just yesterday. Now, at first I was like, okay, but then it got worse and I didn't sleep until 4 a.m. Okay, so you're having some girl trouble. I understand. Relationship trouble. All right, let me jump onto that question. What should you do if there's like somebody you're like deeply in love with? Maybe you've kind of always had a crush on them and they suddenly start another relationship. My advice, and I know this is hard to just listen to because the way your heart feels and the way your mind thinks are two very different things, is that you will find another person out there who will make you feel like that person does, and all it takes is time. There is always another person out there to give you those same sort of butterflies in your stomach and, feelings of love and they exist in many forms and in many ways and in many times throughout your life, even though that is very hard to imagine while you're either going through a breakup that is very harsh with someone you were deeply in love with, or while you're crushing on someone who you wish you could start a relationship with, yet they do not return the same feelings. You should know that over time, you will move past that person. You will totally get over them. And, give it a year, give it 2 years. Eventually that person will just totally fade from your mind. And you will move on to other people who make you feel those same butterflies. They constantly exist in this world. It is so hard to imagine. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember being that age and having people I was madly in love with who would not reciprocate the same feelings. And one thing I was told by either my parents or, older people around me who were elderly wisdom is that move on and you will find another person. And as hard as that is to imagine at the time, it does always and will always happen. Danny, $5 donation. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Appreciate you, man. Greetings from Chicago. Love the live chat. Cheers. Thank you, buddy. You're awesome. All right. Let me move on from there. I'm very depressed in Canada, and I want to come to Japan. Do you think visit Japan will make me happy and forget about lowering my depression? Okay, I understand what you're trying to say there. It's a little bit of a strange sentence, but okay. Let me say this about moving to Japan to escape depression. There is a short amount of time where you will go through what's called the honeymoon period. And it is about 3 months when you first get to Japan. And during that time, everything is like a fantasy come true. It's like a wonderland. The people are smiling all the time here. And that's just because Japan has great customer service. The stores, the smells, the sights, the food are new, wonderful, beautiful. The art design out here and the architecture out here is gorgeous. And it can really, really be a great distraction. But, over time, the honeymoon, just like anybody's honeymoon, will end. Let's be honest, every marriage has its honeymoon, every relationship has its honeymoon, and yes, even every move to Japan has its honeymoon period, and that period will end. And that's when your depression will creep back. And sometimes it can be even harder because now you're not just depressed, but you're depressed in a foreign land where you cannot speak English and you cannot find a psychologist who speaks English. Yes, there are psychologists out here who speak English, but they're few and far between. You'd probably have to live in Tokyo, and even then you'd be very limited by your choices. So that can put a lot of people in some very, how is best to say, some very difficult situations. Because now, before you got here, you were hurting. You were hurting inside and you were hurting mentally. And you came here to escape that. And it's good that you can admit to yourself that you're thinking, if I come here, maybe I can escape that. It's good that you're at least realizing that's why you would want to come here. That's already the first step to realizing there might or might not be a solution to your problem by coming here. The second thing is, after that honeymoon period dissolves, that's when the depression comes flooding back. And it's kind of like almost like a withdrawal symptom. It'll come back worse than it was before. You will go into worse pain than you were in before if you're doing it in a foreign country, especially Japan. I would say if there is any countries that it's a bad idea to be depressed in, it's especially bad in Japan. When you're depressed in Japan, the reason it's worst is because there just isn't an outlet to talk about it. Half the reason I do YouTube is because it's an outlet for me to express and vent emotionally. And that's not easily done in Japan. And I'm not just saying a language barrier aspect. I'm not just saying you can't speak to a BFFL about problems in English. I'm saying in general, Japan does not receive psychological distress very well. And I'm talking any kind, okay? They do not deal with it well. They do not talk about it much. It is swept under the rug. This is something Japan still needs to negotiate and get better at. And it hasn't happened much. There hasn't been a lot of evolution as to how Japan deals with psychological problems. And it's something you just got to be very real about, that if you come here, there is a possibility that your depression would get worse, that if you do have psychological distress, it will get worse here and it will not be taken care of. I'm not blaming Japan for this. I'm not saying this is Japan's problem. Why don't they take care of people? I'm just saying it still hasn't evolved into a country that really takes a good hard look at psychological problems. And that is culturally because a lot of the males growing up here rely on a history that started way back in the Edo era of the Bushido Blade Code, in which being stoic, which means like a rock or like unflinching, unmoving, unemotional, was the king pathos to have. It was the highest level of, how would you say, every aspect of a human, like how polite you were, how well-mannered you were, how intelligent you were, was based around how stoic you were. Did you not get emotional about anything? Could your comrade fall in combat and you wouldn't cry? Could your wife die from an illness and your son die from an illness at a very young age and you wouldn't be unmoved? You would continue to fight like a samurai warrior? Then you are stoic and people respect that. Look at that guy, he's unflinching. And sadly, this type of personality and attitude is still taught to this day. It's slowly being dissolved by the newer generations, and more emotional people are starting to come about, but we are pretty much where America was in the 1950s as far as being able to show your emotional distress in public. Crying at work, you will be sent home. People will not take care of it. They'll just be like, you just need to go home. I'll call you a taxi right now. Getting drunk with friends at night and talking about emotional stuff is frowned upon. You cannot start to talk about your own personal psychological distress, no matter what the situation. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of people end up becoming hikikomori here, why there is still a very high suicide rate. Japan is 13th in the world for suicide, because there is not a way to vent. People are human beings that have very strong emotions, and those emotions cook inside of you nonstop. They constantly are cooking up, whether they be cooking up into something good or something bad. They need to be released. And in Japan, there is not a good environment to release those emotions, especially the bad ones. You can be Genki all the time. You can be upbeat. You can be happy. You can keep a smile on your face all the time, and people will love you. You want to cry. You want to get angry. You want to scream. You want to punch the wall. People will be disturbed. They will be upset. They will be unhinged. And they will send you home. And they will turn you away. And you will be outed as a pariah or a black sheep amongst your friends or your co-workers, anything. And sadly, that leads to some very, very restrictive situations emotionally, psychologically, and that's why a lot of people do end up shutting themselves inside. There's 1.2 million hikikomori in Japan. That is a crazy large amount. 1.2 million. There's that documentary out there called like The Missing 100,000. It should be called Missing 1.2 million. It's only gotten worse. All right, I think I pretty much destroyed that subject. All right, let me just move along here. Let me just say hi to a lot more people still signing on. This is amazing, dude. We got a really good stream going. All right, Not Important has signed on. How's it going, bud? Max, DexMex, Edward, Mayumi, how you doing? Renee, is it Renee or Renai? I never know. Nisbet, I'll just say Nisbet because I know how to say your last name. Phoenix, how's it going? Skate Jam. Oh, I know who Skate Jam is. I remember you coming on all the time as far as my comments are concerned. Meta. And let's see. Shara, did I miss Winged Star? How's it going? Hey now. Okay. Bob and Weave, cool name. Anybody else? Share up. How's it going? And that's hi to everybody. Okay. Do I like Howard Stern? I think 91 people watching. That is my biggest stream ever. Holy smokes. That's even big for YouTube. YouTube usually doesn't get a very high stream. Ann, how's it going? Sigalinda. Max, how's it going? And Blood Falcon, how's it going? Good night. Are you going to bed? Night, buddy. All right. Let's jump on to the next situation. If somebody typed something in chat while I was explaining that giant psychological explanation for that last problem, can you just copy and paste it back in again? What's up? Japan was awesome, by the way. By the by. How's it going? Date Boyanadu Team 7. Zoe, how's it going? Where else do you want to travel? Where do I want to travel? I want to go to very tiny places. If I had a chance to travel anywhere I wanted to go, I would like to check out a couple tiny places like Malta, Gibraltar, and Sri Lanka. And just because I have kind of an obsession with places so tiny they barely show up on a map. I don't know why. I can't sleep. I'm not sure if I have insomnia or depression. I have a really bad headache and always stay up to 5 or 3. It's 5:05. What can I do? Phoenix, I got you. Don't worry about this. I used to have a massive amount of problems sleeping. Hence, I used to be called unrested. There's a couple channels you can use on YouTube to help you relax. And I know this is going to get you to sign off from my channel and go to another one, but that's okay. I think it's more important that you get rest. A couple of the people that I use to help me rest are not ASMR. It's not that stuff. I mean, if that does help you, great, but I'm sure you would have figured that out by now. Jodie Whitley. It's spelled Jodey Whitely. She has videos in which she kind of talks you down into sleep that go on for 8 hours straight. And I don't know how this lady does it. I know she loops a little bit of it, but for the most part, it's her dialogue just freestyling, like meditation and hypnosis type stuff for 8 hours straight. And these have been huge ways to get me to relax. Think about listening to some binaural beats. They can also help calm your mind via certain sound waves. And there's a couple other channels. Meditation Vacation, that's another good one. And Michelle's Sanctuary. Those are 4 of the channels that I use to help kind of settle me when I cannot sleep. Try those out first. If those don't help, come on back on the stream and let me know what's going on. Maybe there's something deeper, but sometimes you just need to get your mind to sit still for a while. I've noticed really what keeps a lot of people awake is we just can't shut our minds down. Our minds are racing, and they're constantly imagining bad scenarios that have not happened in our life, but we imagine they will, and that can be for multiple reasons. And if that is the reason, and you are still staying awake after that, come on back and let's talk about the reason. What's up, Scott? Hey, how's it going, Devin? Let's see. Adam, how's it going? Brain FM, bud. It helps me a lot. Yeah, that's another good one. Okay. I asked about, I'm curious how you find balance and what your mindset behind doing so is, because it seems you have a lot going on that you manage seemingly with some balance, or is it still a struggle? That's a good question. How does Nick? Yes, I have heard of Kundalini awakening. Yes. My monk, how's it going? Okay, so how do I personally find balance in my life? Because I do have a very busy life. I mean, there is balance to balance, pretty much. Pretty much the way I find balance personally, because I am somebody who has dyslexia, I have ADD, so sometimes I think about things very discombobulated, and I lose track of what I'm trying to think about.
And I've had to make methods for overcoming these things. And that's how I've kept my life balanced. Now, everybody doesn't have these same struggles, so the way that they're going to balance their life is very different. But for me, the way I've learned to balance my life is by making routines throughout my life constantly. And routines are something I think that can help anybody, especially those of us with ADD, with attention deficit problems, with dyslexia. And I know some people are like, dyslexia, isn't that just reading stuff backwards? Actually, dyslexia can be like thinking backwards too, or like thinking in a discombobulated way. There's different types of dyslexia, and I have it with the way I think sometimes. And for me, it's all about finding a calibration for routine. What are things that you can do that are layered upon each other that help the day progress? So for example, like I said, when I wake up right away, the first thing I go to is cleaning, okay? Cleaning gets everything in my house organized. Once everything is organized, I know where everything is. Once I know where everything is, I can start to go into my next job, which is writing down what my budget is for the day as far as my school is concerned, what classes I have going on. For example, that's how I'm able to do the streaming now, is I've eventually got down a routine where I realized all my students don't come until about 3 p.m. School does not finish, elementary school does not finish till about 3 p.m. here in Japan. I won't get any students till then. So as you can see, I've been using my morning to come on here and just really enjoy talking to you guys. And I feel like throughout your day, you need to intersperse things that you enjoy, or you will drive yourself either into a depression or just insane. So learn how you can place a balanced amount of things you enjoy with work and with things that you absolutely need to get done in chores as well. My personal belief, and I don't know how many people hold this true to themselves, but I feel like cleaning is a very, very important part of your day. Your day should start with cleaning. Cleaning is a great time to meditate. Cleaning is a great time to organize your life. And cleaning is a great way to get stuff in order so you know where things are throughout the day. It's a really great time to gather your thoughts. Put on some YouTube videos, listen to a Bluetooth Bluetooth headset, and relax with those while you clean, so you still get some enjoyment out of it too. You're getting multiple aspects done while your day is progressing. All right, Scott, someone from Japan, YouTube family in Japan, told me Victor cheap. Is it true? I really do. I don't know Victor's spending habits, and even if I did, I would not try to theorize on them or relay them. I think that's kind of his own personal business. I think he's a very intelligent, and I think he is a very business savvy guy. I know he works like a million hours a week. He works even more than me. Okay. At Wakat Ackerman. I know you meant to say Scott Ackerman. It's okay, Nebula. I just want to say hi also to Amber, who just signed on, and anybody else. Okay, so let me get on to reading Nebula. Do you think Japanese translations would become obsolete as computers become more advanced? I doubt it. If there's one thing that Japan holds fast to, it's being stubborn about their language. I don't know how many of you know this, but Korea used to be a language that used its own form of kanji as well, and they actually changed over to like a 46 character alphabet, or I guess it's not an alphabet. It's what do you call it? A series of symbols. I can't remember what you call a symbolic alphabet. It's like a gilphabet or something like that, and they switched over because they realized with the modern world coming along, they needed to make their language easier for people to learn. Japan seems to refuse to do that. So does China. And I think it's because they want to hold on tradition. They want to hold on to their culture. And as you probably know, Japan is still a very indigenous culture, and there is not a lot of outsiders ever left in this country. Japan only took in something like 3 refugees last year. It only gave asylum to 13 people, whereas America took in 33,000. That's just the way Japan operates. I'm not judging it. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just letting you know it's the way, it's the tradition, it's the culture. They really hold on to their cultural norms. So I don't think that'll change. I cannot say it. A syllabary, yeah. a symbol-based alphabet. Hangul. Yeah, Hangul is the Korean language. I love cleaning, but when others mess it back up or organize, it's enough to drive me. I understand that, yeah. Hanjo was twat. Okay. Let me check it out here. Let me see what we got. Thank you for the stream, Scott. I've got to go deal with an adult responsibility, and I don't think that I'll be back. Stay golden, man. All right, Steampunk Gok. Have a good one, dude. Unrested was a cool name, and it fit you perfect. I like your vid because your point of view, but you are the unrested. Yeah. I mean, you know. I am still unrested. Let's be honest. I just put Scott Ackerman down because there are videos out there that have me listed as unrested that are either like hate videos or drama videos. And for me, it was more so releasing the unrested name because I wanted to escape the old hate or the old drama. Not that new drama won't pop up and exist. I'm sure it will over time, but it's nice to be able to kind of like really show how I'm distancing myself from that. Man, look at this stream, dude. This stream is like the biggest stream I've had in a while. And on top of it, like the stream health, like how good it's been flowing has been great because I finally realized to reduce my bit rate. Man, that helped a ton. Whoever gave me that advice yesterday, thank you so much. I'm such a dummy when it comes to computers. Scott, what do you think of Japanese cleaning expert Marie Kondo? First of all, she is a cutie, man. I don't know if you guys know who she's talking about. There's this girl. She's really big into cleaning, and she has an entire book on it, and she goes and travels to different countries and gives like lectures on it. Her name is Marie Kondo. She is a cutie. She's this tiny little girl, and I mean, she's probably like late 20s, maybe like 29 or something like that. I don't know exactly how old she is. And she is just an expert on organizing and cleaning. She is very logical. She is very rational, and she is very calm. She goes around to a lot of these Japanese celebrities' houses who have a mess in their house. And my God, when Japanese celebrities have a mess in their house, it's like hoarders level mess. It's disgusting. Like it's like food trash buried underneath, papers buried underneath, like gifts people have sent them buried underneath, tons of garbage. Like it's insane. And she goes there and she slowly helps them organize their life. And usually they have like full mental breakdown because they realize how disorganized they were, and they start to cry and stuff on camera. And she just like lets them cry it out. She's just like, yep, yeah, go ahead, get it out. And she just seems like a very rational, very down-to-earth person. I've got a lot of respect for her. She seems like a very kind-hearted, warm person who honestly sees a philosophy behind cleaning, a life philosophy behind staying organized and cleaning your house, which I can totally see eye to eye with her on that. And also, she is a cutie. She's got my heart, man. She's a real cute little girl. I have wanted to read her book. Yeah, I would definitely read her book. I think she's got some really sound advice. Somehow I can't really follow her method. Her method is hardcore, isn't it? I don't think I would ever follow it exactly. I think really when it comes to cleaning, you should really find your own method. But I feel like what would you say? Like the organizational skills that come with cleaning are something that you can slowly develop. That's something I always develop. I love the advice you're giving. It's hard for me to have conversations and everyone seems bored around me. I wish I had a couple of really good friends, but it's hard to make connections with others. 18 Blue Note. Yeah, 18 Blue Note. I know exactly how you feel. As I'm sure many of you can probably figure out, I'm a bit of an eclectic personality. I have some very strange ways that I converse with people and with people around me. And I have some kind of weird thoughts. But the thing that makes me comfortable to talk to a lot of people is that I'm comfortable with my own thoughts and my own weird ideas and my own weird personality. And I think that's something everybody needs to learn to do. However you act or however you hold your attitudes or manners intact, as long as they're not hurting anybody or offending anybody on a constant basis, then stay true to who that person is. Don't change for anybody. Be who you are and develop that person. And if people don't like who that person is, and they don't like, the way you act, or they think you're weird, especially if they think you're weird, then they're not your friend and they are not worth your time. Being weird is not a crime. Being weird is not offensive. Being different with the way you think or portray yourself, or even stumbling through things you say or thoughts you have in order to reach an end point. There's nothing that people should throw away from that. People should not throw away a friendship from that. They should not call you weird for that and distance themselves from you for that. The only times where that is justified is if, someone is being hurt or, verbally abused, or, I guess, there's times where people are offended, but I guess that's more of a subjective situation. Offended can be, SJW offended, or like, you actually are legit being outright racist or bigoted or something. Then I understand why people would distance themselves from you. Never change who you are for people. As far as connecting to people and finding friends who have a lot of the same likes, that is difficult. So, for example, I'm the type of person who can't really connect with the gaming world as far as people who are really into like first-person shooters, really action-based games. But I am a big-time gamer, and I love to talk about games. With movies, I'm not really into action movies. I'm not really into like big Hollywood blockbusters, but I really love movies, and I want to talk to people about movies. I'm more into like psychological horror, surreal movies. All these are very niche based. Everything that I'm into, YouTube, I even watch some very niche based channels as far as like horror is concerned. I really like. I don't know what it is, but I love drama channels and horror channels. I will watch any of it except for like Keemstar. I can't really get that into him anymore. His stuff is just too over the top these days. And there's not a lot of people who are into that kind of stuff. They want to watch like Epic Mealtime. Like I never really got into that show, or, so I have so many niche likes that it is hard for me to connect with a person on many different things. I also think about life a lot. I'm very existential. I think about existence, the afterlife, death, where we go after this, if there's a God or not a God, and those are very deep things that people actually don't want to think about throughout the day. I understand why, but it also makes it very hard for me to connect with people because I want to talk about those things constantly. How do I find a solution to this? For me, my solution, and I'm not sure this would work for everybody, is I have videos. I talk on videos. I do streams like this now, and I just release these built-up thoughts and ideas and psychological-based niched subjects and theories and stuff on the internet. And they will either be received or harshly criticized, but nonetheless, you've gotten them out of your body, you've gotten them out of your mind, and it's another way to vent, and it's another way to find those people by throwing yourself out there into a massive multitude of all different tribes watching the internet, that you will find those other people to connect to, and I have found those people. For example, one friend I have is Tats Top Videos. That guy has a lot of the same ideas that I do as far as like horror is concerned, and he's someone I feel like I can connect with and talk to about some stuff. And then there's I just had a big conversation with Tats just last night, and there's other people on the internet that I've found, and I feel like today, for us to find our niche people that we can connect with, we need the internet. And if anything, we should be thankful that we have this age and time to be able to do that. Because when I was growing up as a kid, there wasn't that. Like, I was always this really weird kid at my school. I went to like a Catholic school, so people were very conservative with their thoughts, with their beliefs, with what they believed, and what they would talk about. Like, they're not going to constantly talk about death or horror movies, or even role-playing games were considered like Satanism at my school, so I couldn't talk about that even. So it was very hard for me to connect to anybody. But now we live in a time where we can put your stuff out there on the internet. I know some people would be like, I'm not brave enough to do that. You don't really need to be brave. You need to know that when you do this, there's a couple things that are going to happen. Number one, you're going to get haters no matter what. You're going to get haters no matter what you talk about. There will never be a subject you bring onto the internet that people will not hate. You need to ignore that. Ignore that right away. Don't read those comments. Don't waste your time with it. You know, you could be as sweet as a peach, but there's still some people that hate peaches. You know how the saying goes. So just don't worry about that. Take your time and find the time to connect with those people who are like, oh man, I can't believe you're into this. I'm really into this. And then connect with those people. And then maybe one day build up a point where you can chat with them, then talk with them online, and then have a vocal conversation or a verbal or video conversation. And then maybe even one day meet IRL. And you will have found a lifelong friend. Some of the best friends I have are via the internet. Some of the best friends I've made are because of YouTube or because of Facebook or because of Twitter or any other social networking out there. And that is because the internet is our gateway to finding people who connect on every single kink, every single niche, and every single very odd idea that maybe, you know, the average normal, you know, norm finds very odd or strange, but you yourself will find it to be really quite common or something that is able to be connected on via the internet. So I say put it out there. Don't be afraid. We're living in a time now where we're oversharing. I don't really see a massive problem with that. If people are annoyed by the things you share, if people block you for the things you share, they were never meant to be a lifelong friend to begin with. Don't go out of your way to impress them. You're wasting your time. All right. Okay, let me jump back on here. And I've been struggling with alcohol and depression for 4 to 5 years. Lost fiance, job, apartment, and now with mom. I don't go out except for a convenience store for cigs and beers, full of debt. Okay, so you're pretty much dealing with almost like a hikikomori situation, huh? Scott, love. A while back you showed support to my Japan slanted poll system, which was awesome, so thanks. New po. Oh, yeah. Thanks for making that, Nick. Okay, let's jump right into Mr. Boots here and his problem. So he's dealing with depression, alcoholism, being kind of a shut-in. I think there's times in our life, and it's not necessarily all the vices that you've declared as far as like shutting yourself in or alcohol, but like we get into other vices in our life where we're stuck in these loops of, I guess, mental abuse, self-abuse, self-torture, self-harm. And I mean, we really are like, if we're abusing food, we're self-harming. If we're abusing alcohol, we're self-harming. We're using these as a way of self-medicating, but really what they're doing is they're harming. And this is because we're offered no alternatives. During these times are the times that we really need to stop. And I'm not just saying just stop. I'm saying stop and take some time for yourself. When you do have that alone time, when you do have that time where nobody is around, stop and confront everything in your mind. Why are you sad? What is the greatest sadness? And then while you're contemplating those, and this is the hardest part, is you need to contemplate the things that are, and I have no other way to say this, but the things that are fucked up with you, because there's things that are fucked up with all of us. There are fucked up things we do, ways we act, or ways we treat people. And we will never come to terms with who we are. We will never become a better person until we confront the worst parts of ourselves. And there are bad parts of all of us. Like, none of us are innocent. There's horrible things we all do. And those are the things we need to constantly confront and see why we're doing them, see how we feel about why we do them, and think about what our end goal was as far as why we did them. So if we lied to a person constantly, why are we always lying to them? If we're drinking constantly to forget our problems, what are we trying to forget? If there's something that we try never to think about because it causes us a lot of pain, why don't we want to think about that? What about it causes us the most pain? We need to confront those. We need to stop, take time, and think about them. If you if you need the help of a psychologist, do it, go to it. Get some help there. But really, I mean, it comes down to you. In the end, we are our own doctors, and we have to heal ourselves before we attack any other obstacles in the world. That is easier said than done. And the first step to it, the most basic step, is to put aside time to actually really confront our worst parts of ourselves. And that may be before you're going to bed. That may be when you're waking up in the morning and getting ready for work or school. That may be on your walk to the convenience store to get your cigarettes. Think about what are the worst things you have ever done. What are the worst parts of you? And confront those. Find out why. And that's only the first step. Think about the things that cause you the most pain and tell yourself why they cause you so much pain. I think a lot of the things you listed here, I think a lot of people would relate to you as far as why you feel pain from these or why you're trying to escape these, because really, I mean, that's what it is escapism. When you try to shut yourself away, when you try to, drink your problems away, these are forms of escapism. And I think people would definitely understand why. If I had gone through a divorce, if I had, one thing, for me, the biggest fear, and this is something I myself have to confront, is if I ever lost a child or I ever lost the ability to be able to see one of my kids, it would be insanely painful. But I've even considered it, how would I deal with it? How would I react? Why could something like that ever happen? And it kind of keeps me in check. It makes me contemplate how I treat my marriage, how I treat my relationship, how I converse with my kids, because they are growing up, they are getting smarter, they are getting older, their dialogues are becoming more complicated. And I think these are aspects of our life that we constantly need to keep in check, because if we don't, eventually they start to dilapidate. They're like anything that needs constant upkeep in our life. And if we don't confront them, if we don't contemplate our biggest faults, our biggest woes, our biggest pain, they get worse and worse and worse. They're like an infected wound. And the good thing about these infected wounds that we have is that we will always have the chance to heal them. We will always have the chance to stop and confront them. Whether or not we do it is completely up to us. I can give you this advice right now. I can tell you what you should be doing, what you should be focusing on, what you should be contemplating, but really it comes down to you. And for some people, I'm not saying this is you, Mr. Boots, but for some people, they have to hit rock bottom before they do that. But for some people, like yourself, you reach out and say, why am I feeling like this? What can I do about this? You've already kind of made the first step. You've realized that you are in some sort of pain. The next step, as far as my advice is concerned, and I'm no legal professional, I'm not a life coach, I'm not a psychologist, I have no training, but from my own personal experiences in life, the next step is confronting the worst part of yourself. Before we go and judge others, before we go and judge our sadness, what causes us the hurt in our life, judge ourselves and take a look at ourselves. What are the worst part of ourselves? Sometimes you'll find what the worst part of yourself was also the cause for a lot of the sadness that you have in your life. Why did a certain person leave you? Why did some kind of relationship break up? It's never 100% one person's fault. Now, I'm not saying if your wife leaves you, it's definitely your fault, or if you leave your wife, it's 100% your fault. There's usually something shared there. There's some sort of bad thing that each person did. You can't help that person come to terms with whatever they did to hurt you. That's up to them. But you can make yourself right with what you did to the other person. You can come to terms with that. And when you do, not only can it heal you and get you out of your pain, out of your slump, but it can make you a way better person. So that's my advice. Confront the worst parts of yourself. What are the worst things you do? It sounds like you're starting to do that already. It sounds like you're starting to confront it. It's not just toxic people, it's toxic diet, lifestyle destroying your organs and mental health. If you're addicted to alcohol, tobacco, drugs, remember that you have the power to quit. Yeah. But everybody finds that in a different way. Everybody finds the power to quit in a very different way. All right, Tizawoot, how's it going? I've seen you on a lot recently. I'm choosing a major soon, or so I should do. I'm sure a lot of you relate to the cluelessness I'm in right now. Stream is really good so far. Yeah, this stream is going great, man. This is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm hoping I'm helping some people along the way. If I am, that's the biggest reward in itself. All right. Well, Mr. Boot, you said it's my fault 100% when it comes to my ex. Well, confront what that fault was. Confront yourself. Find out what the worst parts of you were. If you said she's happy right now and you're not, then it's time for you to work on you. Doctor, heal thyself. Okay, so let me jump on to Tizawoot. He's asking about choosing a major. Hold on, let me just grab. I got some ice cream here. I want to eat ice cream because my mouth is super dry. It's kind of like a smoothie. It must sound really gross if I'm slurping it into the microphone, but sorry, I need this. It's a hot summer day. My mouth is brutally dry, so I need to drink a little bit of that. Okay, so Tizawoot's asking about what he should choose. I mean, it might be a she. I don't know. I don't assume anything. What he or she should choose for a major in college. Well, let me just say that almost 70% of the time, at least as far as America is concerned, or Western countries are concerned, what you choose to major in college doesn't actually end up being your job. So don't rely too heavily on that predicting your future. But I will say, if you are going to make it a huge part of your future, you do want it to play a massive role in your future, then choose something that is not a saturated job. If I went back to do it again, I would not major in art. I love art. Art is my passion. But I wish I would have gone and done like programming. I wish I would have used a skill that was more needed, that wasn't a saturated market. Sadly, art is saturated. I love it. I wish I could do it all the time. Some of you awesome patrons are donating right now and allowing me to do more art in my life. But if I am to be 100% frank with myself and truthful with myself, it is not a profitable career to enter. It is not a stressed career that needs more positions filled. It is an overly competitive, overly saturated field with tons of people wanting to get their dime out of it. And if you absolutely want your degree choice to play a massive role in your future, then you need to choose something that is not a heavily saturated market. You need to choose accounting, or you need to choose engineering, or you need to choose programming. Even programming is starting to become very saturated. So that's my advice. But really, there's not a lot of helpful advice somebody can give you in that, because like I said, 70% of the time you don't end up working a job in the study field that you went through in college. So again, I hope that helps somewhat, but it's usually not a linear path. Choose degree, then follow job right after. And also, my advice is, whenever you finish college, be willing to do your time in lower positions. Don't feel you are owed anything at any point after you finish college. You have proven yourself to no one. And I'm not putting anybody down who finished college. Good for you for finishing college if you do. But one of the biggest problems I see with a lot of people today, like I've had people apply to the job I have here, the company I have here in Japan, they feel like they're owed something. Like, hey, I finished this in college, I studied it. And that's great. That's awesome that you did. I'm still going to start you at a lower position because I want you to do your time in that job. Studying experience is not a comparison to actual work time experience. And a lot of these people say like, yeah, but how am I ever supposed to get experience if I don't get the job? How can I ever get offered a job if I never get the experience in the field I want? I'm not saying you have to drop exactly into the field of work that you want, but if you can get on a path to going to that, if you become a janitor at a building that does the kind of work you want to do and you slowly work your way up. For example, I worked at EA Sports for a while after college, and there were people there who started out as nothing but lowly game testers with me. Some of them went out of their way to draw artwork and CGI and programming stuff that they sent on up to the programming department and the game making department of the building. And every once in a while, someone would get picked up. And they started out as a minimum wage, low paid QA tester. And they made their way to the top, but they were willing to put in the hours and hours and hours of QA testing that it took to get there. And that's something I think, and even I myself, I went through this stage too, where I didn't realize after college I needed to do my time. Same with art. When I finally got jobs doing art, I needed to prove that I was worth people's time to invest in me to do commissions. I did a lot of free commissions first. I did a lot of free work first. My work started to show up in other role-playing game books, and that's when people finally contacted me and offered me money for future drawings. So that was me doing my time. All right. The bitrate is lowering. Yo, the bitrate lowering for sure worked on the latency choppiness. Yeah, right? It's been green the whole stream. It's been amazing. All right. Jade, what's up? Let me just check in on anybody who else is signed in. Who else do we got? Fuckless Master Lord. That's a great name there. Who else? Wickeg. How's it going? And anybody else? Pineapple. How's it going, Pineapple? And anybody else sign on? Wow, a bunch of people sign on since I answered the last question. Sorry, let me just check up here, make sure I get back into flow with the chat. I will definitely save this video and watch it again, so thanks for this. Well, that's a pretty flattering, actually. All right. Anybody else? I think I'll take one last question. I probably have time for one last question, and then I gotta get into it for the day. Start getting ready. Also, you asked who gave me the advice. That'd be me, your loyal banana. Thanks so much. Yeah, your advice on lowering the bitrate, that was great advice. I don't know, were you signed on at the beginning when I said my bitrate? I checked it and it was 2,500. That's why things were getting choppy as hell. All right. Any other questions that we have? Lack of sleep is one of the most common types of way to get cancer. Oh God, I'm gonna have cancer early in life then. The hormone melatonin is produced. I'll probably have like cancer at like 40. No joke. I don't sleep enough. Let's see. Anybody else? If we're near the end, then I can just finish up and we can close up chat and sign off for the day. If anybody's got any more problems, send them my way. 25,000. Yeah, fuck no. Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. Where is the ASMR toy unboxing? Yeah, I don't think I'll ever do that video. I'm addicted to caffeine, like severely. Okay. I have over 1,000. Yeah. Okay, so Pineapple, I actually dealt with this same sort of addiction before I had a bad caffeine addiction. Every once in a while, I think I still get back into being addicted to caffeine. How can you break yourself of it? Man, it is hard because the problem is, and I'm sure like a lot of people are like, caffeine, shut up, Scott. That's not an addiction. It's bad, dude. Like when you finally let go of massive amounts of caffeine, the headaches you get afterwards are like insane migraine level headaches. So you get stuck in this cycle where you try to kill that headache with more caffeine and you're just constantly cycling into like a massive amount of caffeine. All right, Raven B, I'm going to get onto your question next. I'm going to hit that up. I'm just going to finish up with this caffeine addiction thing. So you've got to wean yourself off of it to thank you again for the $2 donation. Oh, as always, it's been real from chat to you moms. Okay, thanks, man. The the way to get yourself off of it is, first of all, you got to wean yourself off of it. If you try to just suddenly stop, number one, you're going to fall asleep in the middle of the day. I already suffer from migraines genetically. God. And you know what? Like what? Caffeine probably helps you quite a bit with your migraines, I imagine, too. When I try to stop, let me just take the time to read this. Later. See ya, Minizine. Thanks so much for showing up. All right, let's see. I get cluster. Oh, God, the cluster headaches, too. Yeah, I get those sometimes, too, man. They last a month. Oh, so you just get back on caffeine. So the way that I had to slowly wean myself off of caffeine is slowly reduce it bit by bit. And I mean, you need to like lower it minuscule amounts day by day. And you need to make sure you do this during a time that you have some sort of vacation. You can't try to do this while you have you can't do this while you have like a busy work schedule or a busy like life schedule. If you can put aside a week that you have coming up for vacation, or you can take a week off from work, that's the best time to be able to do that. Now, I know not everybody has that luxury. Luckily here in Japan, we have things like Golden Week and Oban Week that give us like a massive week off to just finally recuperate. If you can't, then you may need to even consider like, taking a sabbatical from your job or whatever your lifetime work is or whatever keeps you constantly busy, and slowly wean yourself off of caffeine. And I'm talking like, knock down like 100 milligrams a day. Don't try to just cut like 1,000. You're going to get sleepy. You're going to get really sleepy, and you're slowly going to get sleepier and sleepier. And you'll reach a point where you'll be like, yo, am I just going to end up sleeping like all day because I'm not taking any of this caffeine anymore? No, you'll eventually balance out. Your body will catch up with the sleep, and you will feel rested eventually. But for a while you're slowly weaning yourself off the caffeine, you're going to get this very lethargic, kind of very, I don't know how to describe it other than feeling like an airhead type feeling. And it's very disconcerting. Like you feel like, am I like, is my blood pressure too low now because I suddenly dropped a bunch of caffeine? Am I like, losing my mind because I'm not getting as much caffeine anymore and I can't think as fast anymore? But no, it's your body adapting. You're going to get headaches too. And here is one thing that I've found that can kind of help you through the headaches. You're going to have to suffer through them. There's just no if and or buts about it. It's like it's the same as someone coming off of an opiate addiction. They have to suffer through the pains of those too. We have to suffer through the pains of, with a caffeine addiction, the pain of a headache, a caffeine headache, or a migraine headache. And to make it through those, my advice to you is get the patches that you would get for your muscles, the hot and cold patches that you would get for your muscles. Get those. And like I said, you need to be doing this during a time where you can rest and take time off from work. Get those and put those over your eyes. Put those on the back of your neck, and most importantly, put them over the top of your head, and then put a tight hat on that presses them very hard against your head. This won't totally nullify the effects of the migraine or the headache, but it will help you to at least be able to maybe sleep through it. It's very difficult to sleep through a migraine. You're in so much pain that you just can't do anything other than suffer. But the one way that I've found to push through the stress of those migraines is to place, I take a muscle like heat pad or icy hot pad. I cut it into like eye-shaped sections, almost like goggles, and I put them over my eyes like this. And I press them deep into my eyes. Sometimes I'll even do so much as like take a headband and wrap the headband around my eyes so it presses them even tighter. Now you want to keep your eyes closed when you do this. If you keep your eyes open, you're going to burn your eyes out. But the amount of heat and icy hot that it throws into your head will somewhat nullify. It won't totally cancel it out, but it will make it manageable pain for your migraine, and maybe you can sleep it off. All right. Okay, I want to get back to the one who somebody lost a loved one in their life recently. That's a really heavy topic, so I want to help somebody cover that because that's a rough one to deal with. Oh, where was it at? Who said that before? Oh, darn it. I hope I didn't lose the message here. Okay, If the person who wrote about before that they recently lost a loved one and they're dealing with the pain of the loss and they want to know how to work through it, if you could type that message just one more time. I want to just get like the full details because everybody's situation is kind of different with losing a loved one. You know, you gotta manage it different ways, or you know, there's some cure-alls for, you know, different ways to deal with death, but usually there's sometimes some very specific things you need to do depending on how and when the person died. Let me check. I want to just try and go through her one more time. Was it? Let's see. I remember like the person had like a black and white icon. Let's see here. Sorry for the pause. I gotta find this. Let me see. Just for me, that's something important to cover. Give me just a second, guys. And if someone logs on and is like, why is he quiet? Just explain to them. Alright, let me see. So I actually went to therapy. No. I am making a simple Japanese flashcard system. No. Darn it. Alright, let's see. Did they post their stuff again yet? Let me check at the bottom and see if they post it. I have seizures with my migraines. Seizures is something is on a medical level that I can't even attempt to give advice for. Let's see. How do you cope? Okay, how do you cope with the loss of a loved one, especially when you're talked to her on the phone every day for the last year? She was my rock. Okay, so I guess the most important thing to know is, was this like a sudden death or was this like a gradual death? Like, was it someone who you knew death was coming, or was it just a sudden death? I need to just ask that because it's really different how you'll deal with those two situations. I'm just going to wait for that answer. Sorry if I'm slurping into the microphone. Heading out to bed. Night, Zoe. See ya. Thanks so much for signing on. Yeah, it's probably pretty late. Oh, it's almost like 11 o'clock everywhere in the Western world. Yeah, I'm glad you came on. I'm glad you stopped by for the chat. All right, so I don't know if the question got across, but someone dealing with a death, okay? So first of all, okay, she had lung cancer and it came out of nowhere and progressed so quickly. I just didn't have the time I thought I did. She was my mom. Okay, so this is a heavy situation, and there isn't going to be anything I'm going to say that's going to suddenly cure the sadness that you feel for a death. When a major death in your life comes, the sadness is something so great that there is no magic word, there is no magic cure that will take away what you feel. So I'm just going to let you know that right off the bat. And although that is difficult to deal with, and that is difficult to know that you have to deal with, I guess, is like that's the most ineffable experience, is knowing that you have this pain and that there is no sudden silver bullet you can take to get rid of it. Do know that time is the only thing that's going to heal that kind of pain you feel from a death. That's the only thing. It lessens with time. But for now, it's just one of those situations where you have to let it slowly settle in. Now, what I will say is the best way for you to deal with the death of someone who is that close to you, and that was a loved one, is you need to find a way for them to live on. And they can live on in many different ways. by you, I don't want to say recording. Well, it could be called, you could say recording, I guess, documenting the parts of their life you want others to remember. Well, there are things that everyone in our life teaches us, and I'm sure your mother taught you quite a bit. And those are the things that need to move on to the next generation and need to continue living on from her. Our parents are kind of like our guiding rock. They're our the purveyor of our hopes and our dreams. Whether they were good or bad parents, they're the people we look up to as a moral compass most times in our life. Whether they were good or bad parents, usually there is something that they have taught us that has allowed us to learn and live our life the way it is today. And most times what we do is we reap the best parts of those. A lot of things are sown into our childhood and our young adulthood, and maybe even, later in life as well. But usually what we do, and the way our minds work as human beings, is we remember the best parts. And those best parts are usually remembered because it taught us something about life. And it can be many different things that parent taught you about. It could be something that they taught you as far as a skill is concerned. Well, the way you let that live on is you teach that skill to another person. If you've taught that skill to another person, then your mother has lived on in another person. If she taught you how to do something, maybe she taught you about a way to act during a certain situation. If you give that guidance to someone who's, looking for that kind of guidance in their life, like maybe, I don't know, this is just an example. My parents taught me how to interview really well. I feel like I'm pretty decent at interviewing. And one thing I can't wait to pass on to my own kids is how to be good at job interviews, because my parents were both so good at it and knew how to do it so well and taught me everything I know about that. And that will be one way where my parents will live on in their grandchildren. And that is only one small way that she can live on. There's so many other ways. And what you need to do is express those many ways in anything that will help you heal the wound of losing her. For example, if I lost a loved one like that close to me, I would probably go on YouTube right away and talk about them. And the reason I would do that is because that's the way I express myself. That's the way I record things. And then after that video, the memory of that person would live on in the internet forever. And for me, I feel like that would be a good gift to the person who left this world, but also it would allow them to not fully leave this world. It would allow part of them to stay. For years and years after I put that video up, they would come back and watch something that I said about whoever died in my life, and they would grab maybe even just some small part of that. Then a part of that person who died lives on. They are immortal via whatever I use to record whatever lessons they taught me in life. Maybe it's not even lessons. Maybe it's just memories that taught you about just the philosophy of living. That's still something you can grasp and write down. Maybe it's in a journal. Maybe you don't want to do video. I could understand that. I don't think I'd be ready to go on video right away after someone that close to me died. You need to record it in a journal, write about it. Come back years later, you can read it again. Maybe you'll even have, people you hand it down to, a friend you give it to. Someone else can read your journal. Maybe one day you'll even have kids. Maybe you do have kids now, and they read that journal and learn about what a great person your mom was to you and what she taught you. It sounds like you were pretty close. So I have a feeling she taught you quite a bit about life. If she taught you quite a bit about life, if you share those life lessons with others around you and you recall those good memories and how she warmed your heart, you'll be giving all the gifts she gave to you to other people, and she'll be living on through those gifts. So in the meantime, you're still going to hurt. There's just no way around that. You're just going to hurt. It's making me think of when one of my closest friends died, and so I'm getting kind of like choked up myself. I haven't had any parents die yet, but I had a very close friend die one time, and this is the way I eventually learned to deal with it. And if you are able to make it through the very beginning stages of when that person died, know that over time, Like any wound on your body, that wound will heal as well. In the meantime, the best way that you can nurse that wound, you can nurse that hurt, that pain, is by celebrating the memory of that person. And people will say things like, pray for them, keep them in your memories. That's good. You can do that. If that helps you, if that's cathartic, do it. But help that person live on. Keep that person alive. Never let what they did die by, in some way, recording the things that they taught you, either the skills they taught you, the life memories they taught you, or I guess just the way that you live your life. If they taught you about the way you live your life now, your personal life philosophy, your ethos, your pathos, your pathway in life. If they taught you about how to guide yourself down that, forking path, record it or share it. And maybe you're not ready to share right now, just record it. Write it down. Any way that is possible for you right now. And while that's not going to be a cure-all, that's not going to be the silver bullet that takes away your sadness, it will be one of the small things that does help you get to a point of healing. And it will be something you look back on that you will be very happy you did. And it will even more so allow you to realize that person did not die in vain. That they left this world having let their memories, their thoughts, their teachings, their philosophies live on in you. And then it's your job to let that live on in other people. That's how the next generation improves. So if anything, think about that. The next generation of people, because of your mother, improve. So is anyone ever truly dead if we're constantly improving the next generation? Okay. It says my stream was frozen. Looks like I still have a pretty good. Looks like the stream's still going pretty good. The KBS is doing all right. Well, guys, I think nobody refreshes Scott. He is already fresh. Well, guys, I want to say thank you so much for everybody who joined today. That was a pretty heavy topic we ended on, but I think it's a good one. Let's see. I would like to just end it here, I think. And I'd like to end it here by saying thank you to everyone who signed on today. The most important part for me is just people on right now, viewing and watching, commenting, and sharing your problems with me, your life with me, your pain with me. That's not easy to do. So pat yourself on the back for being brave. That's not easy to do. I mean, you're sharing it with me, but also a crowd of other people on here right now. I want to say much respect to the chat for pretty much how kind everyone was. I didn't see a lot of trash talking or anything. Sometimes some of these chats can be pretty mean, but for the most part, you guys seem to be pretty chill. I want to do an art collab with you. Hit me up on Facebook if you want to do an art collab. We can do something, definitely. And like Mr. Will 1729, Scott, you fag. So you can see sometimes these chats can be a little bit mean, and Mr. Will is showing us an example of that. Thank you, Mr. Will. And I feel like today our chat was pretty chill, and it's people are telling me the chat's starting to lag a little bit, and things are starting to slow down on the stream. So I'm gonna go ahead and close it down here. When's the next stream? Thank you so much for the advice. It means so much to me that you took the time to answer it. No problem, Raven. Just hang in there, okay? I know it's rough, but one day it will start to slowly, gradually get better. Bye, Dr. Scott. Are you interested in art collabs? Yeah, I'm definitely interested in art collabs. If anybody wants to hit me up with art collabs, hit me up on Facebook and let's talk. Oh my gosh, so many people saying art collabs now. All right. Let me just block this one guy. Definitely, I'm glad they came out of the woodwork right there. Oh, okay, Banhammer, you got it first, huh? Okay, good. And I just want to say thanks for everybody who came out. I've already repeated myself multiple times, so I think it's time to end it. And if you're interested in coming over tomorrow, I stream tomorrow. I believe I won't. Sadly, I won't be able to stream. I don't think until after 12 o'clock. And I'm going to try. If we hit the 500 goal, the 500 level Patreon goal, which, guys, we're at, it's like so close. I think it's like $21. No. I think it's $17 only away now. So we're $17 away from hitting the $500 goal. The day's kind of only just started. It's only afternoon right now. So we'll probably hit it. And if we do, then tomorrow when I sign on, we're going to be doing a giant book of yokai, demons, oni, yurei, all different types of scary Japan-based stuff. So if you're interested in that, you want to join me for that, it'll be more of a dark, spooky chat. And I think that'll be pretty fun. Hit me up on Patreon at patreon.com/Scott Ackerman. Thank you to everyone who donated to the stream. That always blows me away. I never ask for donations during the stream, but if you do it, dude, please know that like I am moved. I am like amazed that people do that. I want to say bye to everybody and drop that shit. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't say I dropped the stream. All right, guys, thanks to everybody, and thank you so much for signing on. I will again, of course, notify everyone tomorrow as well when I'm about to sign on. So have a good one. I don't have my stream ready to shut off. Love y'all.